Hey everyone, and welcome. If you just heard the words SAP Audit and felt a little chill run down your spine, don't worry, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to cut through all that complexity and give you a clear, strategic guide to navigating what can feel like a pretty intimidating process. So let's just dive right in.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 key chunks. We'll kick things off with why these audits even happen in the first place. Then we'll look at what the auditors are really looking for. After that, we'll get into the super important digital trail. And then, and this is key, we'll flip the script and talk about how you can take control of the process and deal with whatever comes out of it.
Okay, first things first. Getting an SAP audit notice doesn't mean you've done something wrong. Honestly, for most companies running SAP, it's not a question of if it'll happen, but when. It's just a standard part of the deal, so let's get you comfortable with how it all works. At the end of the day, an audit is really just SAP using a right that's already in your contract. They just want to make sure you're using the software you've paid for and not, anything extra. So what actually triggers one? Well, sometimes it's just a routine annual check. But other times, it could be sparked by their own analytics, a big company event like a merger, or even a public announcement you made about a new system.
The whole thing usually plays out in these 4 stages. It all starts with that official email from their compliance team. Then it's on you to run a couple of measurement tools to gather up all your usage data. You bundle that up and send it back to SAP. Now, that's what we call a basic audit. But if they spot something interesting or have more questions, the process can escalate into an enhanced audit, and that's where they really start digging into the more complex stuff.
So, with all that data you send over, what are they actually trying to find? It can feel like they're looking for a needle in a haystack, but it really just boils down to 3 main areas of investigation. You can think of an SAP audit like a structure that's held up by 3 main pillars: the technical pillar, the financial pillar, and the operational pillar. Each one supports a completely different part of their investigation into how your business is running on their platform. So let's break that down a little. First up, we've got the technical pillar. You'll often hear this called IT General Controls, or ITGC. This is really the foundation. Auditors are looking at system security, who has access to what, and how changes are managed. Basically, is the system itself secure? Then there's the financial pillar. This is all about modules like FI and CO, and the big focus here is making sure your financial reporting is accurate. They're looking at things like your general ledger, accounts payable, and accounts receivable. And finally, you have the operational pillar. This is where they examine your core business processes, like in materials management or sales and distribution. They're checking for solid controls in your day-to-day operations, like that classic 3-way match, to make sure you're only paying for goods you actually ordered and received. Okay, of all the technical stuff we could get into, this next concept is, without a doubt, the most important one. Because to prove you're compliant, you've got to be able to follow the digital breadcrumbs of every important action that happens in your system. So what even is an audit trail? It's really simple. Think of it as the system's memory. It's just a log that answers 3 basic but totally critical questions for any change that's made. When did it happen? Who did it? And what exactly was changed? This is the evidence the auditors live and breathe by. I love this analogy because it makes the idea so clear. The security audit log is like the CCTV camera in an office building. It tells you that somebody entered a specific room. But the audit trail, that's like the digital footprints inside the room, showing you exactly what they touched, what they moved, what they changed. You absolutely need both to get the full picture. Now, turning on this logging capability isn't just one big on-off switch. It's actually a hierarchy. First, you've got the master switch at the highest level, the client level. If that's not on, nothing else matters. Nothing gets logged. Then you can choose to log entire tables, which is perfect for really sensitive master data. And for those super busy transaction tables, you can get even more specific and just log changes to a few critical fields. That way you get the security you need without crushing your system's performance. And that's really the crucial point here. You have to be strategic. You absolutely 100% want to log changes to something like vendor bank details. That's a high-risk table where changes should be rare. But you would never want to log every single change to the accounting document header table. That thing could have millions of new entries a day, and trying to log all of it would just bring your entire system to its knees. It's all about finding that perfect balance between security and performance. Okay, so now we get the what and the why behind the audit. Let's pivot. Because the goal here isn't just to survive an audit, it's to manage it. It's time to shift from being reactive to being proactive. This right here, this is the single most important mindset shift you can possibly make. An audit is not something that just happens to you. It's a process, And just like any other business process, you can, and you absolutely should, manage it. Taking control is the difference between a predictable, managed activity and a sudden, unexpected financial hit that throws all your real business priorities off track. So how do you actually do that? How do you take control? Well, there are a few key moves. First, set up one single person as the point of contact for all communication with SAP. No mixed messages. Next, and this is a big one, you have to validate all the data yourself before you send it over. You need to know what's in those reports better than they do. It's also critical to get the scope and the timelines in writing, and then you hold SAP accountable to those dates. And finally, never forget what's most important. Don't let the audit become this all-consuming black hole that derails your actual business goals. All right, we are officially in the home stretch. You've gone through the process, you've submitted your data, and now SAP has come back with their findings. This last phase is all about navigating those results smartly and avoiding some very common and very expensive mistakes. Let's talk about some common pitfalls. A really simple one is just leaving user types blank in the system. If you do that, SAP is more than happy to just default them to the priciest professional license. Another one is the never-ending audit. You have got to push for a firm end date or it can drag on forever. But that last one on the list, that's the most dangerous. A user with debug with change access essentially has a skeleton key to your system. They can go in, change data directly at the table level, and leave absolutely no trace. It makes that audit trail you carefully set up completely worthless. So what do you do when SAP comes to you with a finding and a big number attached? The first step is not to pull out the checkbook. You follow the OMP strategy. First, you optimize. Are there users you can reclassify to a cheaper license? Then you mitigate. Can you remove access for people who don't even use it anymore? Do you have old, unused licenses, shelfware that you can trade in? It's only after you've done all of that that you get to the final step, purchase. And that brings us to our final thought for the day, and it's a really important one. You can have the best logging, the best tracking, a picture-perfect audit trail, but is it possible that someone in your organization with debug access is just walking right past all those controls, completely undetected? It's a powerful reminder that security isn't just about flipping technical switches, it's just as much about managing human access.